There's a level of strength that makes people uncomfortable just being around you, not because you're aggressive or intimidating, but because your presence reveals everything they lack. And today, you're going to discover how one man reached this level 400 years ago, and how you can follow the same path. Have you ever encountered someone who simply doesn't break? Someone who faces every situation with absolute clarity, who never flinches, who never makes excuses. While everyone around them is collapsing under pressure, explaining away their failures, giving up at the smallest obstacle, this person just keeps moving forward. People will say anything to rationalize it. They'll say it's genetics. They'll say it's privilege. They'll say it's luck. But what they refuse to accept is that there's a price to be paid. A price so high that most people would rather condemn those willing to pay it than face their own unwillingness to do the same. 400 years ago in Japan, there lived a man who embodied this frightening level of strength. His name was Miyamoto Musashi. He fought his first duel at 13 years old. By the time he was 30, he had fought over 60 duels. He never lost a single one. But here's what makes his story truly remarkable. Musashi wasn't the biggest man. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't born into a prestigious warrior family. What he developed was something far more dangerous than physical prowess. He built a mind that couldn't be shaken and a spirit that knew no limits. Before he died at 62, alone in a cave, he wrote down everything he had learned. The result was Go-Rin no Sho, the Book of Five Rings. And buried within those pages is the exact blueprint for transforming yourself into something that makes others deeply uncomfortable. But I need to warn you, Musashi's method isn't about getting motivated. It's not about positive thinking or morning routines or productivity hacks. His method is about elimination. He didn't become strong by adding things to his life. He became invincible by systematically removing everything that created weakness. Before I show you exactly how this system works, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video. And here's something I'd love to know. What's the biggest weakness in your life right now? Drop it in the comments. Your answer might help someone else facing the same struggle. Now let's dive into what Musashi discovered. Let me tell you about David. He's 34, works in finance, married with one child. By every conventional measure, David has a good life. But David has a problem. He's weak, not just physically, mentally too. He wakes up every morning with grand intentions, but by the time he gets to work, those intentions have evaporated. He's bought 3 gym memberships over the past 2 years, canceled all 3 after a month. He started countless diets, each one lasting about 4 days. The pattern is always identical. Strong intention, pathetic execution. When things get difficult at work, he freezes. When he needs hard conversations with his wife, he avoids them. When his son needs discipline, David leaves it to his wife because confrontation makes him uncomfortable. Then one day, something happened that changed everything. He was in a strategy meeting with senior partners. In the middle of his presentation, David's heart started racing. His hands began to sweat. The room started spinning. He couldn't catch his breath. He had to excuse himself, convinced he was dying. At the emergency room, they ran every test. Everything came back normal. The diagnosis was brutal: anxiety, stress, mental weakness. The doctor said something that hit like a punch to the gut. Your body is responding to threats that don't exist because your mind hasn't been trained to distinguish between real danger and simple discomfort. David went home and started researching. How do you train the mind? That's when he discovered Miyamoto Musashi. And more specifically, that Musashi didn't write a philosophy book. He wrote a combat manual for life. The first principle David encountered seemed contradictory. Musashi wrote, "Do not depend on any particular weapon. Have no preferences for conditions. If you can only be productive when everything is perfect, you are weak. True strength is the ability to perform under any conditions." Musashi trained with wooden swords, metal swords, 2 swords, 1 sword, no sword. He fought at noon and at midnight, in blazing heat and freezing cold. Why? Because the enemy doesn't wait for perfect conditions. David realized he was the complete opposite. He could only be productive at his desk. He could only work out with perfect conditions. Every aspect of his discipline depended on external circumstances. So David did what Musashi taught. He eliminated dependencies. He started with something ridiculously simple: push-ups. No equipment needed, no gym membership, 20 push-ups every single day, anywhere, anytime, under any conditions. The first week was easy. Week 2, his muscles were sore. Week 3, he traveled for work and was exhausted. Week 4, he got sick with the flu. This is exactly where David had always quit before. But this time, he remembered Musashi's words. Practice must continue regardless of circumstances. Traveling? 20 push-ups in the hotel room. Sick with the flu? 10 push-ups instead of 20, but never 0. No energy after a terrible day? 5 push-ups, but the commitment remains unbroken. By day 40, David was doing push-ups without thinking about it. The physical habit was automatic, but his mind was still chaotic. Still anxious about work, worried about money, afraid of disappointing people. That's when he encountered Musashi's most important concept. Heijoshin, the everyday mind, the mind that remains unchanged. Musashi wrote, "In the moment of battle, your mind should be exactly the same as when you're drinking tea. No excitement, no fear, no reaction. Just pure presence." Musashi's answer was brutal. You don't suppress fear. You become someone who doesn't need to react to fear. You train the mind to observe without responding. David started practicing this everywhere. Every time he felt anxiety rising, whether in traffic, in meetings, during arguments, he did one simple thing. He stopped and observed the physical sensation without reacting. It was torture at first. Every instinct wanted to react, to argue, to defend, to run away. But David just watched. My heart is racing. Interesting. My jaw is clenched. I noticed that. Just observation. No judgment. No reaction. The first time it worked was 3 months in. His boss criticized his work in front of colleagues. The old David would have frozen and sweated through his shirt. This time, David felt the fear start to rise. He recognized it. He observed it. And then he simply continued speaking. His voice didn't shake. He responded clearly and directly. His boss was visibly confused by the lack of reaction. David had accessed Heijoshin for the first time, the mind that doesn't move. But Musashi understood something crucial. A calm mind without a capable body is just an illusion. Musashi wrote, "Train hard with the wooden sword to strengthen the body. When the body is weak, the mind wavers. When the body is strong, the mind stays firm." David had been doing push-ups for 90 days, but he hadn't truly tested his body under extreme conditions. So David decided to do something his wife thought was insane. 100 push-ups every single day for 30 days straight. Day 1 took him an hour and 15 minutes. Day 5, he could barely lift his arms. Day 30, 12 minutes straight through. But what changed wasn't just his body, it was his mind. When you prove you can do something that seemed impossible, something shifts permanently. You stop negotiating with difficulty. David was physically stronger now, mentally calmer. But Musashi had a third principle, Zanshin, permanent awareness. The mind that remains. It means being present, aware, never disconnected. Musashi wrote about warriors who won duels but let their guard down celebrating and were killed by a second attacker. The battle does not end when the enemy falls. It ends when you are safe. David realized he'd finish projects and immediately disconnect. He'd achieve a goal and stop all training. He began practicing Zanshin in daily life. After completing his push-ups, he would stand still for 60 seconds, breathing, staying present. After difficult meetings, he would sit quietly for 3 minutes and process what happened. When you maintain awareness after action, you integrate the learning. 3 months into this practice, something had fundamentally changed. People at work noticed. You seem different, more focused. His wife was most direct. You're like a completely different person. But the real test came on day 112. David was called into an unexpected meeting. The firm was restructuring. David was being laid off. The old pattern would have sent him into complete panic. But something different happened. David felt the initial shock. He recognized the fear starting to form. And then, nothing. His mind didn't spiral. He was simply present. I see. What's the timeline? The partner was surprised by the calm. You have 45 days? Okay, I understand. Thank you. David returned to his desk and continued working. His colleagues who were also let go were in complete meltdown, calling spouses in tears, paralyzed by panic. David was calm, not because he didn't care, but because he had developed what Musashi called Fudoshin, the immovable mind. Musashi explained, the tree stands quiet not because there is no wind. The tree stands quiet because its roots run deep. Over the next 45 days, while everyone else panicked, David took action. He updated his resume. He reached out to his network. He went on interviews. By day 32, he had 4 job offers. When he left his old firm, he was earning 43% more than before. His colleagues who spent those days in panic mode, most were still unemployed 4 months later. Sports psychologists who work with elite performers have studied this extensively. The difference between athletes who perform under pressure and those who collapse isn't talent. It's accumulated exposure to discomfort. Resilience is built repetition by repetition through deliberate practice. But Musashi had one final principle. Hyoho, the strategy of emptiness. He wrote something that seems contradictory. In combat, do not intend to win. Intend not to lose. When you fight to win, you create openings. You push forward, expose yourself, take excessive risks. When you fight not to lose, you remain whole. You have no gaps, no weaknesses. David applied this to his new position. Instead of trying to impress everyone immediately, he simply didn't make mistakes. He showed up on time every day. He delivered exactly what he promised. He didn't create drama. He didn't overpromise. 5 months later, David was promoted ahead of people who had been there for years. His boss explained simply, "You're not the most talented person on the team, but you're the most reliable. And reliability beats brilliance every time. That's Hyoho. You don't have to be the best at everything. You just have to have no weaknesses." Musashi never lost a duel because he never gave his opponent an opening to exploit. He studied them, waited for their mistake, and executed with absolute efficiency. Zero waste, zero unnecessary movement. David began applying this everywhere. In his diet, he didn't try to eat perfectly. He simply never ate junk food. In his training, he didn't try to set records. He simply never missed a day. In his marriage, he simply never broke his word. No weaknesses, no gaps, no excuses. 9 months after beginning his transformation, David was unrecognizable, physically stronger than he'd been in 15 years, mentally unshakable, emotionally stable, but he still had one barrier. He was afraid that if he stopped for even one day, everything would collapse, afraid that this strength was temporary, fragile. That's when he encountered Musashi's final and most radical concept, Sutemi, abandoning the self. Musashi wrote these words shortly before his death. "I regret nothing. I fear nothing. I desire nothing." How do you completely abandon fear? Musashi's answer was the most challenging. You stop identifying with outcomes. You are not your successes. You are not your failures. You are simply the continuous practice itself. David tested this in the most extreme way. He stopped counting his training streak. He stopped celebrating milestones. He stopped posting about his progress. He removed all external validation completely. The training continued. The meditation continued. The discipline continued. But now without ego, without needing recognition, without fear of losing what he'd built. Because he finally understood the deepest truth. You cannot lose what you are. You can only lose what you have. If your strength depends on maintaining a perfect record, you'll always fear the day you break it. If your strength is simply who you've become, nothing can take that away. And at that exact moment, something strange started happening. People began avoiding David, not because he was arrogant or aggressive, but because his presence made them uncomfortable. When you eliminate fear, hesitation, and the need for approval, you become a mirror. People look at you and see everything they're not, and that's painful. David's co-workers stopped complaining around him because their complaints sounded hollow. His friends stopped making jokes about how hard it is to stay in shape because those jokes felt like excuses when he was there. Even his family commented, "You're getting too serious," as if his discipline was somehow an attack on their lack of it. Because his very existence proved that everything they claimed was impossible was just uncomfortable. 1 year after beginning his journey, David was no longer the same person. Not because he'd changed his personality, but because he had systematically removed everything that wasn't essential. He was no longer someone who tried to be disciplined. He was someone who couldn't be undisciplined even if he wanted to be. Practice wasn't something he did. It was who he was. Musashi wrote about this state. The sword and Zen are one. There is no separation between who you are and what you practice. When people asked David how he maintained such incredible discipline, his answer was simple. I don't have discipline. I eliminated the parts of myself that wanted to quit. This is exactly what Musashi taught. Mental and physical strength isn't built by adding motivation, willpower, or techniques. It's built by removing everything that creates weakness. You don't need motivation to breathe. You don't need willpower to make your heart beat. Why? Because these functions are essential to who you are. When training and discipline become as integrated as breathing, you've reached the level that frightens people. Miyamoto Musashi died at age 62, alone in a cave, writing. He had no wealth, no title, no followers with him at the end. But he had something no one could ever take away, complete mastery over himself. His final words were, "I regret nothing." How many people can say that truthfully? How many reach the end of their life knowing they lived at the absolute limit of their capabilities? The question isn't how did Musashi do it? The question is, why aren't you doing it right now? You have access to the same knowledge. You have the same hours in each day. You have the same human body with the same potential for transformation. The only difference is willingness. Willingness to eliminate dependencies. Willingness to practice until practice becomes identity. Willingness to abandon everything that isn't essential. This frightening level of strength isn't for everyone, not because it's impossible, but because it's deeply uncomfortable. And most human beings choose comfort over capability every single time. But you're not most people. If you've watched this video all the way to this point, you've already proven that you're different. The question now is, what are you going to do with this information? What dependency are you going to eliminate first? What weakness are you going to transform? If you found this video valuable, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Leave a like to help this reach more people who need to hear it. And tell me in the comments, what's the first thing you're going to eliminate? What's the first weakness you're going to cut out completely? Because strength that makes others uncomfortable is the only strength worth having. That's the lesson of Miyamoto Musashi. That's the path of the warrior, and that path is open to you right now if you're willing to walk it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.